We have had so many delays on nominations this year. Just as a quick review of where we stand, we've had over 51 roll call votes on President Obama's nominations to serve in government under his presidency. Of those 51 votes, over 80% of them were by overwhelming margins, yet they'd sat on the calendar. Just for some comparison here, at the similar point in the Bush administration, there were 8 nominees on the calendar. Right now, we have 107 nominees on the calendar. As I look at the list, I am confused because most of the people on the list, we don't know why they're sitting there. We don't even know who's making them sit there. Enter stage left, the anonymous hold. Or, as I like to call it, nobody can blame me because they don't know who I am. There is a law that we passed that had a rule in it, very plain language, very easy to understand, that once a senator makes a unanimous consent motion to confirm a nominee, then you got to come out in the sunlight. The rule says that you must notify your party leader of your hold that you have on the nomination, and it has to be published in the congressional record. My friend from Oklahoma followed the rule. He notified his party leader of the holds he had, and it was published in the congressional record. He has a great habit of reading what we're doing around here. And when he read the rule, it was obvious to him that the rule said, once the motion had been made, you say who your holds are. And he's never been afraid, my friend from Oklahoma. He has never been afraid to take accountability. And that's all we're asking here today. We're not asking anybody to give up their holds. We're only asking people to identify who they are, to come out into the sunshine for the transparency that we all want to have as we serve the great people of this nation. And with that, for the first motions, unanimous consent motions, I will yield to my colleague from New Mexico, Senator Udall.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to executive session for the purpose of consideration of calendar numbers, and this is for the EEOC, 616, Jacqueline A. Barron, 617, Chai Rachel Feldblum, 619, Victoria Lipnick, and that the nominations be confirmed in block.
Is there objection?
Mr. President, reserving the right to object, I'd like
Senator from Oklahoma.
I'd like to make an inquiry of the chair as to the interpretation of the rule that we passed, because it's my understanding that the rule doesn't require you to publish, but it does say the majority and minority leader are no longer obligated to honor your request for a hold if you have not. And that isn't the case of the law as I understand it. It just removes the obligation. So under that basis, I will object to this first package and plan on objecting to every other one in forbearance and as a courtesy to those on my side of the aisle that have a problem with some of these nominees.
Mr. President.
Senator from Missouri.
Well, I'm confused.
An objection was heard.
Objection is heard.
I'm confused. This law was passed in the most bipartisan way possible, 96-2. Really? Are we going to pretend that this law doesn't say what it says? Does anybody really believe the senators don't understand the impact of this language? And are we really going to stand on some kind of formality that we don't have any way to enforce it? And, you know, well, maybe it's, I guess the position that the senator is taking on behalf of the Republican caucus is the law doesn't say what the law says. Now, I know this is not a standing. I've had a briefing this week on the standing rule versus the rules versus the law. That's what drives America crazy about this place. That is what drives America crazy about this place. The secret hold is wrong. The senator from Oklahoma knows it, and I guarantee you most of his colleagues do. You'd be amazed how many Republicans have come up to me this week and say, you know, I don't do it. But to stand on behalf of the Republican caucus on some notion that this doesn't say what he says, that's not what we were sent here to do. Honestly, it wasn't.